Open your Social Security statement, and there's a big, confident number staring back at you. Maybe it says $4,754 a month. And here's the uncomfortable truth. For a lot of people, that number is a lie. Not a typo, not a mistake, a lie of assumption. Because that estimate is quietly betting that you do one specific thing for the rest of your career. And if you don't, the real check can come in thousands of dollars lower. Every month. For life. So let me give you the whole answer before we open the hood. Your statement number is not a promise. It's a projection, and it assumes you keep earning roughly your current salary every single year until the day you claim. The moment you stop early, to retire, to start a business, to raise kids, to chase financial independence, that assumption breaks and the number shrinks. The rest of this video is the mechanism, how the benefit is really built, the 2 specific ways the estimate overstates it, and how to pull your true number in about 5 minutes. The fix is real and it's free. First, how does Social Security even arrive at a monthly check? It is not a percentage of your last paycheck. It is a formula, and it has 3 moving parts. Part 1. They take your 35 highest earning years. Not your last 35, your best 35, each one adjusted or indexed for wage inflation up to the year you turn 60. Part 2. They add those 35 years up and divide by 420, the number of months in 35 years. That gives a figure called your average indexed monthly earnings, AIME for short. Hold on to that word, because AIME is the engine of everything. Part 3 is where it gets interesting. They run your AIME through what are called bend points. In 2026, those bend points are $1,286 and $7,749. Here's how it works. The first $1,286 of your monthly average gets counted at 90%. The slice from there up to $7,749 gets counted at 32%. And anything above that, counted at just 15%. So the system is deliberately progressive. Your first dollars of average earnings replace 90 cents on the dollar. Your last dollars replace 15. That single fact will matter when we talk about whether working one more year is worth it. File it away. Let me run one quick example with round, made-up numbers so you can see the gears turn. Say someone's average indexed monthly earnings comes out to $6,000. First slice, 90% of the first $1,286. That's about $1,157. Second slice, 32% of the next chunk, from $1,286 up to our $6,000. That's 32% of roughly $4,714, or about $1,509. Add them, and you get a monthly benefit around $2,666. Notice what happened. More than half of that check came from the very first band, the 90% slice. That's the progressivity in action, and it's exactly why a few zeros pulling your average down does real damage to the bands that pay the most. One more piece people skip. Those past earnings aren't counted in the dollars you actually earned. They're indexed, scaled up to wage levels in the year you turn 60. So a salary from your 20s gets inflated to roughly what that same work would pay near 60 before it enters the average. The practical upshot, years after 60 go in at face value, not indexed up, and a 0 year is a 0 no matter when it lands. That's why skipping your indexed peak years and replacing them with zeros is such a 1-2 punch. You lose the inflated value and you gain a literal nothing in its place. Now, the first reason your estimate overstates reality. When the Social Security Administration prints that number, it has to guess about your future. And its guess is brutally simple. It assumes you keep earning about what you earned last year, every year, straight through to the claiming age it's showing you. No raises, no promotions, but also no gaps, no sabbaticals, and crucially, no early exit. It's a straight line drawn from today to retirement. So if your statement says you'll get that big number at 67, read the fine print. That figure assumes you work at your current income until 67. Walk away at 55, and you've just deleted 12 years of earnings the estimate already spent on your behalf. Here's the second mechanism, and it's the one almost nobody sees coming. Remember that the formula uses your 35 highest years. What happens if you don't have 35 years of earnings? Social Security doesn't just average the years you did work. It plugs a 0 into every missing year, and then averages all 35. So if you worked 28 years and stopped, The formula isn't dividing by 28. It's adding 7 zeros and dividing by 35 anyway. Every one of those zeros drags your average indexed monthly earnings down. And because AIME is the engine, a lower AIME means a permanently lower check. This is the 35-year rule, and it is the quiet killer for anyone who retires early. Let me make that concrete, with illustrative numbers, not anyone's real account. Picture someone with 34 years of work and an indexed average around $5,000 a month, who's 1 year short of a full 35. That single missing year, that 1 zero folded into the 420-month average, can cost roughly $24,000 to $27,000 across a 20-year retirement. From 1 zero. Now multiply that by the 5, 6, 7 zeros an early retiree might be carrying. And you see why the statement number and the real number can live in different zip codes. And for the financial independence crowd, it's actually a double hit, not a single one. Hit 1, the zeros we just talked about, filling the years you chose not to work. Hit 2, you also forfeit your highest indexed years. For most careers, your biggest earning years come late, your 40s and 50s, and those are exactly the years an early retiree skips. The estimate assumed you'd bank those peak years. Instead, they're gone, and lower early career years stay in the top 35 mix. So the early retiree gets punished twice, zeros pulling the average down, and the loss of the very years that would have pulled it up. That's why I'll just take Social Security later can be a much smaller cushion than the statement implies. So what do you actually do about it? You stop trusting the default estimate and you build your own. Go to your My Social Security account at ssa.gov, and instead of letting it assume you work forever, set your future earnings to 0 for the years you don't plan to work. The detailed online calculator lets you enter future earnings by hand. The quick calculator does not. That's the one that quietly straight lines you. Run it with your real plan, and you get a number you can actually budget around. And if you're sitting at, say, 33 or 34 years of earnings, here's your highest leverage move. 1 more year of work doesn't just add income. It knocks out a 0 and replaces it with a real, indexed year. That swap, near the 35-year line, is worth far more than the same year of work once you're already past 35. Now let me argue the other side honestly, because the doomed version of this is overcooked. First, the formula is progressive on purpose. That 90% first band means lower lifetime earners replace a much bigger share of their income. So the percentage hit from a few zeros is cushioned, not catastrophic, for modest earners. Second, if you're genuinely pursuing financial independence, Social Security is usually the side dish, not the main course. Your portfolio is supposed to carry the plan, and an overstated estimate may barely move your overall numbers. And third, once you're past 35 solid years, working longer has sharply diminishing returns. You're only swapping a low-indexed year for a slightly higher one, not erasing a 0. At that point, when you claim 62 versus 67 versus 70, usually matters more than 1 extra year on the job. So, real problem, worth understanding, not a 5-alarm fire for everyone. Here's the one thing to remember. Your Social Security estimate is not a promise, it's a what-if. And the what-if it's quietly running is a full career you might not actually finish. The big number assumes you never stop. So before you fold it into a retirement plan, rerun it with the truth, the years you'll really work, and zeros for the ones you won't. The number you get back is the one to build on. That's tonight's working theory. If this changed how you read that statement, there's a new one here every night at 7. And tell me in the comments, when you pictured your Social Security check, did you assume you'd work right up to the day you claimed, or did you already know about the zeros? Not financial advice, general education only. This video was made with the help of AI.